Joining us now is Mike Gartner, the chair of the board of the Hockey Hall of Fame. Mike, thank you so much for being with us today. Of course, what are your initial reactions to the passing of Ken Dryden? Just a massive loss to not only Canada, but the hockey community at large.
Yeah, I think obviously the initial reaction of he is just one of sadness. Especially, I'm 65 years old. 78 seems a little young to me, and it's so unfortunate that we have lost such an icon in our game at really such a young age.
And Mike, what does this passing, of course, mean in terms of Dryden's legacy and what his legacy means to the sport of hockey? I mean, the list of accomplishments goes on and on for Ken when it comes to winning 6 championships with the Canadiens, playoff MVP of the year, Rookie of the Year. The list goes on and on.
You know, Ken truly epitomized what it was like to be a Hockey Hall of Famer. He really did. He had exceptional on-ice qualities, and he really just followed that up with exceptional off-ice qualities as well. You just went over some of the accomplishments that he had on the ice as a 6-time Stanley Cup champion, 5-time Vezina Trophy winner. When you walk into the Hall of Fame, the first statue that you see is a statue of Ken Dryden in his legendary pose, leaning on his goal stick in the creases we've seen so many times before. And certainly, as he retired early at 31 years old, really in the prime of his career, for no apparent reason other than he wanted to go do something else, and then went on to have such an impact really within our community and within our country in his representations with Parliament, as an author, and really as just an icon of the game of hockey.
And I wanted to know, too, what will be your fondest memories of Ken, and how do you hope that he will be remembered?
Well, my fondest memory is I was a 12-year-old boy, and I was going to school in Mississauga, and I was in grade 8, and they rolled out during the Summit Series in 1972 those TVs into the gym, and we all watched Canada beat the Russians in that 8-game series, and Ken Dryden anchoring in between the posts with Paul Henderson's goal with just a few seconds left. And that's really my introduction to Ken Dryden and what I saw. But then had the opportunity to serve with Ken on the Hockey Hall of Fame board in the early 2000s. He was the president of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I was working with the NHL Players Association at that time. And just the way Ken carried himself, he was a gentleman. He was thoughtful. He was class all the way. And that is exactly how Ken Dryden will be remembered.
And one more thing that I also wanted to ask for you, what's, an interesting memory, a quirky memory of Ken that you will hold close with you?
Yeah, I think that anytime you see Ken Dryden, whether it be in video footage or whether it be in person, he'd always have a little kind of smirk on his face, and you knew that whether he was asked a question, anything would never be off the cuff. He would always have a thoughtful answer for you, and he would just give you that little smile and then go into his kind of rendition of whatever the answer was to the question that you just asked. And it might not even be an answer to that question, or it might take about 5 minutes to come around to finally get to that answer, but you knew that it was going to be thoughtful.
All right, that is our Mike Gartner, chair of the Hockey Hall of Fame. Mike, thank you so much.
My pleasure.